second episode of our second quarter. The theme of this quarter is service. And as all of you know, last month we have covered the region efforts in countering COVID-19. What are the service we have done? We listen from our own service coordinators and all the participants in form of a panel discussion. This month, the month of May, we would like to embark on the efforts we are doing in the Go Green Champ activities. And this is going to be again in the form of a panel discussion. And this panel discussion is monitored and will be coordinated by two of our young champs, YAs, Ritvik from Oklahoma and Ashwita from South Houston. A brief about Ritvik. Ritvik is from Oklahoma Sai Center, recently moved to Southwest from East Coast. He has recently joined and his parents for gardening, and he is really enjoying those work. Though it is very hard, but it is very rewarding and enjoyable. Coming back to Ashwita, Ashwita came to the US almost 10 years ago to pursue her graduation studies. She is a hardware engineer by profession. Ashwita is originally from Tamil Nadu, southern India, and is Swami's devotee since childhood. She has been an active member of South Houston Sai Center since 2018. Currently, she is the Region 10 Go Green Champ and also the service coordinator of South Houston Sai Center. Ashwita draws her inspiration and energy from all the fellow devotees that she gets to team with to do Swami's work. With this brief introduction, may I request Ashwita and Ritvik to start the program. Saira.
My humble pranams at the lotus feet of Bhagwan Sri Satya Sai Baba. Sairam, everyone. Thank you, Brother Murli, for introducing me and Brother Ritvik. I would like to begin with Swami's quote. He says, "You have to realize that nature is manifestation of God. Hence, nature should not be ignored. Nature is the effect and God is the cause. You should recognize the immanence of the divine in this entire cosmos." So from this quote, it's very clear that we have a responsibility towards taking care of this planet, Earth, that we live in. We have heard the term go green. So what does go green actually mean? Going green means to pursue knowledge and practices that can lead to more environmentally friendly and ecologically responsible decisions and lifestyles. This can help protect the environment and sustain its natural resources for current and future generations. This is the sole purpose of EnviroCare team that rightly falls under service wing of the SSSIO. And like all other service wings, we have 10 Go Green Champs across USA representing each region. Here in Region 10, we launched Love Green, Live Green from Guru Purnima Day in 2020 for all our Go Green initiatives. In 2020, we had activities for 18 weeks on various topics like single-use plastics, recycling, gardening, etc. This was our offering to beloved Bhagwan for his 95th birthday. While we have been indulging in many of these activities in the last few years, we would like to highlight a few today. So without further ado, I would like to begin introducing our Love Green, Live Green panel members for today's discussion. First off, we have Sister Sanju, who is a YA from Austin Sai Center. She is currently a PhD candidate in biomedical engineering at UT Austin and joined Austin Sai Center 4 years ago. She was introduced to Sai Center in Florida during her childhood at around 6 years of age. Sister Sanju is always eager to learn more about ways to live green and volunteer in Go Green activities. We have Sharmaji from Dallas. Sharmaji has been associated with the Dallas Sai Center from its inception in 1984. He has served the center in various capacities, including president for 2 terms. He began the Sai in Heart, Sai Garden in Home Sadhana project in Dallas Sai Center, along with other devotees. At present, there are more than 70 vegetable gardens at devotees' homes in Dallas and many in Houston. The devotees donate more than 2,000 pounds of vegetables every year to the needy. Sharmaji enjoys his gardening sadhana. We have Brother Subbaraju from North Houston Sai Center, who's originally from Andhra Pradesh in India. He was introduced to Swami by his wife and kids. He has been actively participating in sevas for the past 4 years. Professionally, Brother Subbu works as a software architect at HP. Next, we have Sister Purnima, who is a mother of 2 boys and an SSC teacher who has taught in San Antonio for 4 years in all. She was the Go Green champ for San Antonio for the past 2 years. She knows Swami due to her parents and feels very fortunate for that. She is also IT and business professional. Sister Purnima loves to be an instrument of Swami. Last but not the least, we have Sister Sri Devi, and she's celebrating her 10th year with Satyasai Center of South Houston. She has been very active in selfless service and was given the opportunity to serve at both Whitefield and Puttaparthi hospitals. She served as the service coordinator of South Houston Sai Center for 4 years and introduced many sevas like air conditioning seva and is active in the community. She is the South Houston Go Green champ and has recently initiated the community gardening in Houston. In her term, the South Houston Sai Center has gone completely green in all their regular seva activities. And today, she will share the importance of preserving the environment for a future generation by using biodegradable products. Professionally, she is highly acclaimed and is tenured professor of pathology at Baylor College of Medicine and serves as a medical director of clinical lab at Texas Children's Hospital. Thank you all for joining us. With these introductions about our wonderful panel members, let's jump into the question for the panel discussion. The question is, Swami's teaching offers several methods to live in harmony with 5 elements of nature. As our Love Green, Live Green champion, can you share with us how you have imbibed his values in pursuit of environmental sustainability? So, Sister Sanju, how did you go about practicing Swami's teaching on preserving the 5 elements while doing the Adopt a Creek Go Green activity?
Sairam, I'd like to first offer my humble pranams at the feet of our beloved Bhagavan. And thank you for organizing this panel. And so to speak a little bit about the Adopt a Creek activity. So this was an activity that we did for a couple of years where it was in partnership with Keep Austin Beautiful. And that's a nonprofit organization in Austin. And so here our Sai Center was able to adopt a 0.6 mile piece of the Walnut Creek in Austin. And we were able to get equipment from the organization to help clean and remove mainly plastics from the area of the creek that we had adopted. And so it was a couple of times in the month for a couple of years again, where we were able to do this seva. And over time, we were able to, some of the activities included like picking up plastics from the trail, making sure the trail was maintained, as well as even going into the water and picking up some of those plastics as well. And I think, like you said, where Swami was talking about how to help make environments sustainable, and there's many different ways, like you said, and I think this is one way is to really understand how we can reduce plastics in our surroundings and be able to take care of our surroundings and be more aware of what is there. And so how to really take care of Mother Earth like you're taking care of another person. I think that is what this activity for young adults was able to see. And not only were we able to bond with our fellow brothers and sisters, but we were also able to bond with Mother Nature. And so being able to understand how we can take care of our surroundings, that also translates to how we can take care of doing other stuff and small contributions within our home, and hopefully having a bigger impact on environmental sustainability. Because if each of us do our really small duties, it'll help us to understand more about in the world that we're living in, and kind of helping to keep our environment sustainable.
Thank you, Sister Sanju. What I really appreciated from what you said is the awareness leading to action and feeling. The second thing is how I interpreted what you said is by taking care of your surroundings, in a way you're taking care of yourself, or you're working on yourself. So I appreciated that. Thank you, sister. So now if we can ask Brother Sarma, how has your activities with Go Green connected you more deeply with Swami's teachings, either as regards to his 5 elements or more generally?
Sairam, everyone. Thank you. And my pranams to the lotus feet of our Swami. Thank you, Ritik, for asking that question. As we think earth, we cannot think it different from Swami, as Swami said. Both Swami and earth know only to give. They never ask anything from us. So we need to show our gratitude for this grace. Swami has given us a pure, pristine earth to live and asked us to be a trustee, but not as owner. We need to keep his trust. This Sai garden is one way that we can take care of the earth. A Sai garden in your heart and a garden in your home. This is truly a spiritual journey where we express our sadhana externally with a physical garden. There are major differences between these 2 gardens, and they are remarkable. The external physical garden has many restrictions, as what type of land, the correct seeds, the season in which you can grow, adequate water, protecting the different weather conditions, taking care. Whereas Sai garden in your heart is 24/7 garden. We can work on it whenever you feel like. And how we start this? You make your heart as the land for Hridayavasi Sai and pick some values as your seeds. In the physical garden, you can go through setting up a garden physically, and you can visit our Dala Sai Center, which gives you a beautiful ways to set up a raised garden, raised bed. Once you sow the correct seeds in the garden, make sure that you take good care with watering, and you'll see the seeds sprouting. This is when the miracle happens. You see how the seeds you planted coming up as values you have taken up to give you the joy. This is Anandasai stage, as we are happy to see Swami's miracle and experience to see the practice of the values in us. Because the plants grow with nurturing, caring, giving support. They need, and removing the weeds. Similarly, the values become strong within us by practicing the good values and eliminating the bad qualities. The next step in the physical garden is harvesting the produce and consuming the same. We all eat. This is when all the nutrients from the vegetables of love go into every cell of the body and you feel healthy. This is the Antaryami Sai. Sai is everywhere in your cells of the body. When we donate these vegetables to the pantry for the needy, we are giving Swami's love to everyone. This is Swami takes his form as Sarvantaryami Sai. That is, he's everywhere in everyone. So our journey starts as Hridayavasi, then it grows as Ananda Sai, becomes Antaryami, and then it becomes Sarvantaryami. With this practice, you can reduce the carbon emission automatically, as we'll have less trips to the grocery stores and no plastic bags. You just walk to the backyard and pluck what you want to eat from the backyard. And after you enjoy the fruits of the sadhana, you can compost the peels and return them to the earth. Swami makes this waste into gold again. This is our Swami. The circle is complete. We take from earth and give back to earth. Enjoy the spiritual sadhana in your backyard and have one-to-one conversations with your Sai. This is how we can be a true trustee for Swami to keep the earth safe. Thank you, Sai Ram.
Sairam Sharmaji, that was a wonderful analogy of how you can connect the physical gardening to the spiritual gardening, and how at every stage the whatever applies to the physical gardening applies to the spiritual gardening as well. I really like the way you put the circle back that goes back. What comes from earth has to go back to earth. Thank you for sharing that, Sharmaji. Next off, let's pose this question to Brother Subbu. Brother Subbu, the question is, Swami's teaching offer several methods to live in harmony with 5 elements of nature. As our Love Green, Live Green champion, can you share with us how you have imbibed his values in pursuit of environmental sustainability, especially in your tree planting activity?
Sairam everyone. My humble pranam to Lotus Feet of Bhagavan Sai. Thanks for the opportunity. We did tree planting from Northeastern County Parks. Before going there, I just want to highlight, few points. About, as Brother Sharma said, is already given like gratitude to the nature. Swami always says, whenever Swami speaks about the nature, he always speaks another Mother Nature. He's always called the nature as a Mother Nature. So Mother is always know how to give. Mother will never ask you anything from you. She always try to give whatever you need. So Swami always says, Mother Nature, and Swami always says, so nature is a God. So with that, I just want to say before, how we started. When we Go Green initiative came from the regional level, we got opportunity for tree planting. So I know you know what the world is going through now, COVID situation. So when you got the opportunity of like bulk planting, tree planting, not planting one tree, bulk tree planting, we got an opportunity to plant from the county, and we are exploring what are the best ways we can do bulk tree planting. And when we got an opportunity from the county, Harris County, for planting bulk tree planting. So it's very difficult time. We don't want to miss the opportunity which Swami gave us. At the same time, we want to maintain the social CDC guidelines. So we have divided all the teams into groups, mainly families, so that they'll not connect each other. Social distancing. We planted around 95 trees on the occasion of Swami 95th birthday. So that was an opportunity given by Swami for us. So when we take this, when we got this opportunity, we was very, dilemma. We will able to plant these 95 trees with a limited members, and planting these big trees. There are trees, 5 gallon, more than 5 gallon trees. It's not easy. Digging into we need to dig into the ground 2-3 feet at least for every tree. And how the Swami makes the things for you easy. So when we get into the ground, so we will able to finish the service very quickly. Our aim is to get all the generations, next generations, get in touch with this, involved in this tree planting. So our goal is to not just to plant the tree. We want to take care of it. And when we go through, ask the county who will take care, how we can take care of these trees. So they said, no, we just need your, they said we'll take care of other. When the tree is planted, they'll take care of everything, like planting, mulching, watering. They'll take care of it, big trees. So when we take, so like after planting these trees, after a few months, when you take these kids to the park where they planted, so how the joy they have. So they are very happy. by looking at the tree. So hey, this is the plant, this is a tree I planted, so now it's got grown up. So next 10 years my tree will be, will be like this. I can see the tree like last 15 years my tree will grow like this. They try to compare. They're comparing the 5-gallon tree with the 50 years or 25 years tree, and they also learn how the tree will go, how the trunk, how can you measure the tree age by looking at the trunk of the tree. So this is like we are encouraging the next generation also involved into the tree, and we have another tree planting service we are doing on 15th of May for the county. This time we are planting 108 trees on the like by representing 108 Swami names, 108 trees. So I just want to quote. I want to introduce, like, give us like few personal experiences, as Baba Sharma said. Show your gratitude to the nature. So I had a story recently. I think we all know how the world is going through right now. So one woman, like, admitted to hospital for 3 days. She got a bill, after like 3 days of discharging hospital. When they ask, like, by putting the oxygen, giving the oxygen for 3 days, they're giving a bill. So she started crying. Oh no, she started crying. Then ask, why you're crying? She's saying, no, for 3 days I'm paying this much of bill. I'm being living in this earth from last 30, 60 years. So how much I need to pay back to the mother nature? So how much I should pay back? So always I'm taking as a granted. So that's what Swami says. Show your care to the nature. So we encourage more plants, more oxygen. So make the go green. Make the plant more oxygen. So that's what, like, we all say. So we have a number of trees by person. So try to, every person, we encourage all the kids, all the families, families, plant at least on a tree in your life. So take care of it take care of it. Sairam, thanks for the opportunity. So Swami is saying, so save the mother nature, take care of mother. Sairam.
Sairam, thank you, Brother Su. I can tell from how what you're telling us, I can tell how much you care about kids and the next generation, getting them involved. I think I appreciated the holistic aspect that you brought in your story brought. So, for example, the kids are excited. They're digging a hole. They're spending all this effort, and they're putting the sapling in. And then, of course, after they've had their joy, and afterwards you have to continue to nourish it. And you say, okay, what's the next step? What do we do? How do we keep this growing? Apply the mulch, apply the water, and make sure it keeps going. So very holistic. I appreciate that. So thank you, Brother Subbu. And now if we can pose the question to Sister Purnima. Sister Purnima, how have your activities connected you closer with Swami's teachings, either in the 5 elements or more generally?
Thank you, Ritvik. Pranams to Swami. Thank you to all the organizers of this program. Honestly, this is a very unique new position for me to be in. So I sincerely have to request Swami to guide me in whatever I speak today. So I think, as Swami says, the purpose of human life is self-realization, not learning through expounding through spiritual texts, but basically to learn it experientially. For me, I think the path of going green, or the process, was something I felt was Swami's gift to me to put me on that track. I feel that because a few years back, Swami led me to read this specific book, which was about the nature of the human mind, the importance of silencing the mind, and it had an impact on me. So I started meditating, I started observing the activities of my mind, and it was very helpful. In fact, I thought, why didn't Swami give me this much earlier in my life? I felt like every child, the moment they're able to learn consciously, should be given this knowledge. So Swami did that for me late, it's fine. And a few months down in the Sai Center, I was asked to speak for about 5 minutes, a presentation about Go Green on Ishwarama Day. It was a regional directive. So I did that. And today, again, it's Ishwarama Day in India. It's not a coincidence that we are speaking about Mother Earth again on Ishwarama Day. So the presentation I did the research that went behind the presentation had impact on me. It was quite intense in the sense that there were so many sad facts about the climate change. There was environmental injustices, things that hurt. Swami continued teaching me, got in contact with several Go Green champions of the region, such as Sister Devi over here. And also Swami came in the dream of one of our center members and said, Purnima needs to teach SSC. And specifically, Swami said SSC Group 2. Having known this person closely and also experiences of my father guided by Swami through dreams, I knew not to take it lightly and accepted becoming an SSC teacher. And you will not be surprised, I think. My first lesson in SSC was tranquility of the mind, inner silence. So the kids were of an ideal age group. They could understand, they could imbibe some things. I was happy. So together at the center, the kids, myself, the center members, through Go Green lessons, through discussions at the center over WhatsApp, we together learned how to, correctly curbside recycle. It was important because hardly 10% of the recyclables, and especially plastics, are actually being recycled in the world today. And besides curbside, we also learned that there are private companies like TerraCycle and others that help to recycle hard to recycle plastics, clothes, and many things. And in fact, we even convinced and talked to a couple of the SSC kids schools to go ahead and recycle stationery through some of these programs like Crayola and TerraCycle. So the kids, later there's a video where the kids will talk more about these things. And so basically we learned that, going green in any manner is basically reciprocating nature's love. But for me, the big Go Green lessons were, one, to go green, I'm supposed to feel. Unless I feel for Mother Nature, my surroundings, the people, even things in my surroundings, I'm not able to go green. And I asked Swami how to make everybody feel this feeling. I'm sorry. Only when people feel this at scale can you go green, right? So anyway, Swami, I got these beautiful words from Swami that said, information first, transformation next. So, I took it that I'm supposed to learn diligently and then spread awareness, get environmental awareness and going green activities into the common conversation, which is what I did. And thirdly, the most impactful lesson that I learned, I kept wondering at the back of my mind, it bothered me, going green, just one individual, a few individuals, will it really make a difference? I mean, doesn't government have to make big decisions to affect positive change? And Swami beautifully answered again. While researching for SSC, I found a quote of Swami's. It said, transformation begins with the individual. When the individual changes, the world will change. And also he says this transformation has to begin in the minds of the individual. And in that moment, I understood that, he was actually charting out a journey. First, he taught me about the mind, then he taught me about going green, the environmental injustices, and then finally the most important lesson, which is not just a go green lesson, but a lesson for life, which is, do your best, learn, do your best, but finally surrender everything. He will take care of it. It is a lesson in surrender and basically becoming a willing instrument in his hands. So, I mean, this was not just my journey. It is all of our journeys together, because ultimately, aren't we all really connected? I mean, what better than COVID to prove that we're really interconnected and, we need to come together, unite, and try to, leverage the power of universal love for any problem, not just climate problem, right? So these are, I think, what I learned from going green. This is how I connect to Swami. And I hope he continues to, guide me like this. Sairam.
Sairam, Sister Purnima, that was a wonderful experience that you shared there. I like it how it was a personal journey for you, a personal thought for you, and then how it went from there to Swami guiding you at every step, giving you all the information that you needed, answering your question in the ways that he can, right? And I think also you touched upon the fact that we have a plethora of information available, right? And we don't know where to begin. I think a lot of us are there. We don't know where to begin, right? And then you beautifully emphasize that as an individual, let's start the transformation. Let's not worry about the world. Let's start. Let one person change, and there will be a ripple effect of multiple people joining us. And then I like how beautifully you said that surrender, right? You do your part, you do your duty, surrender. And if everybody does that, and you brought in the oneness thing, oneness, that was our theme for Aradhana Day. So you brought in the oneness aspect. So it's a change. I think you reminded us that it's a change that cannot happen in over a day or a few years. It can take many, many years, but it is a change if individuals transform. Thank you so much for sharing that, Sister Purnima. That was wonderful. Thank you. All right. Now we have the next panel member, Sister Sri Devi. So how did you go about participating Swami's teaching on preserving the 5 elements while you embarked on this journey of transitioning to using biodegradables for all your seva activities in the center?
Thank you for that question, Ashwita. First of all, let me offer my most reverential pranams to Swami for giving us the direction to save the environment. And thank you to the organizers for inviting me to this satsang. We really are witnessing the detrimental effects of climate change in our environment every day. And these are actually largely self-inflicted. And Swami has said that we can achieve balance in the 5 elements, which we talked about, by practicing simply the 5 human values that he has given us. And we know that all life is interdependent on these 5 elements. And if you are using any product, it's just simple. If you're using any product that does not contain any one of these elements, you really should not be using it. And Swami gives us very simple solutions. And he says, sealing on desires, and that's what I teach for SSC. So sealing on time, food, resources, energy more consciously, and reducing wastage by practicing the 5 R's. So Sister Purnima talked about recycling, but it's also refusing, reducing, reusing, repurposing, and recycling. And, we get one more R for free. You said, and that is reform. So when you reform, eventually you can transform. So let me say that each one of us should start by asking this question. And that question is my action or inaction, which means not doing anything, in any way harming the environment? And then we say, what can we do as individuals? Every drop makes the ocean, right? So we can definitely make a change. And that change can multiply into a significant change. First of all, what can we do? We can refuse. We can build our character. We can be resolute. And we can say no, especially when it comes to the dreaded single-use plastics that stay forever and ever and are not degradable. And here are some examples of what are abused normally, in daily life by so many people. First, say no, refuse that plastic bottle. Instead, use your own bottle, which even says, love all, serve all. So you, improve your health and you spread good values, right? This is the other one that's most often abused. This is the plastic grocery bags. Throw that away and take a biodegradable bag for your vegetables, or better still, use a grocery bag, a cloth bag, or a t-shirt that you can repurpose into a cloth bag. And this is actually one that one of the students made for all of us in the center. And you can start saying no in a small way. Say no to styrofoam, say no to plastic, and you spread this message from, we do Jyoti meditation every day in the center, right? Well, not in the center nowadays, but outside of it. But like the Jyoti meditation, you close your eyes and you say, spread the light, to your, so that it envelops you, surrounds you, and then goes to your community and the world. That's exactly what we do. Spread the love, spread the word of Go Green. And, I'm just talking not just to say it, but because out of experience, we were first introduced to this concept really seriously by Brother Ramanandam. And I think many of you here know Brother Ramanandam in the center. He came back in 2018 from the Go Green conference in Puttaparthi. He was fully charged. And he said, don't just keep talking. Really do something seriously, because this is serious and is going to impact future generations. So I'd taken on the role of the service coordinator, and that really struck me. And here is a messenger of Swami who's telling us that, this is serious, guys. If you don't do something about it, you are actually disrespecting Mother Nature. So it started then as many in South Houston Sai Center would say, as a fear for Brother Ramananda. Oh my God, Brother Ramananda is coming. We better throw that plastic away. But what started off like that quickly changed into love for Swami. And we all, as a council, as a center, took the pledge that every activity in the center, every event in the center, every seva, we were going to go green. We even called people and gently told them, don't bring prasad in plastic bags, just bring them in a disposable container or a biodegradable container. So it slowly changed over time. And yeah, man is a creature of habit. We have to remind ourselves and each other, but really, I'm so happy to note and say that in our center, we don't use styrofoam, and largely we don't use plastic at all. And we also got creative. We started doing other things like reducing energy consumption, switching off lights, saving on gas, repurposing milk cans to like water jugs or flower vases, so many different things. And I know I don't have that much time to talk about it, but we also did, some noble people in our center said no more food wastage. We also embarked on food rescue. We used to, get rescue food from bread from the gourmet bakeries and give it to the shelters. So many activities. We did the Go Garden, the Adopt a Park, and tried our level best. I shouldn't say level best because there's so much more to improve. But, like I said, we're running out of time. I'm going to stop here, but I want to conclude with one concept. And the one concept that I think all of us Go Green champs and everybody in every center should take and run with it is in Region 10, we all should pledge to pray to Swami. You might say, what, prayer? That's it? Yeah, we pray to Swami. So any event that comes, we prepare for the event, P. We refuse to use plastics. We recycle items, or we act upon it, and we are aware and spread awareness of love green and live green, the A. And the Y is yes. We always say yes to love green and live green as a way of life. So let's pray, let's love green and live green. Jai Sai Ram.
Thank you, Sister Sri Devi. It's hard to capture everything you shared, but one thing I'll take away is the 5 R's or +1 bonus. You told us each one is so deep. You can talk about reusing things, repurposing things. You can talk so much about that, and recycling things. But you focused on the reduce and the refuse. And what comes to mind is the adage, 1 ounce of prevention is worth 1 pound of cure. So it's great that we're doing so much to recycle and reuse and repurpose, but we can also make bigger impact by at the start, kind of refusing the plastics. So thank you for all that. So that's a great transition to talk about. All the panelists shared their connection with Swami, which was excellent to hear. And now we'll transition into a video, which will show also activities, some tactical items and tangible things that people have done and people can do. So we can take some suggestions from them. It's a video starring SSE kids and their families. So without further ado, we'll start there. Thank you.
Sai Ram, let's watch the Love Green, Live Green initiatives from the SSE and Sai families of Region 10. Community Side Gardens from Dallas and South Houston.
Saram, my name is Shreya, and recently me and some of my classmates decided to participate in our Sai Center's gardening seva.
My name is Veda. Gardening helps us as individuals foster the value of patience and reinforces the concept of eating sattvic food. Gardening can also be related to our growth spiritually, as just like a seed which grows into a plant, despite many other external factors, we as individuals need to be resilient and incorporate values such as sealing on desires and persistence instead of succumbing to pressures, helping us grow spiritually and blossoming into leaders by bringing our goals and dreams to fruition.
Sairam, my name is Geethan. Gardening takes care of the earth in many ways, but the two biggest ways is that it decreases carbon dioxide levels while simultaneously increasing oxygen levels, which makes the air we breathe a little bit more pure and more filtered. And additionally, it allows the other plants within the garden and regionally to grow better as well.
Sairam, I'm Purna. Participating in the Sai Center's gardening seva for my first time was an exhilarating experience, and I was very happy to be part of a conjoined initiative to give back to the earth. Sairam, I think gardening helps the Go Green initiative by us reducing the amount of waste we normally put out. By consuming and growing all this organic food, we are putting our good energy back into the earth and putting all that sattvic food into our bodies, just like Veda mentioned.
Tree planting activities at North Houston. And the Go Green Seva from the SSC kids in San Antonio.
Saira, simple living and as well as Swami advises, sealing on desires can help Mother Earth recover from the shock of overconsumption. I use precious resources like water and electricity carefully. Swami says to turn off the lights when not needed.
I have learned to recycle correctly so recyclables do not end up in landfills.
I love to recycle, and every day I put veggie peels in my garden. Here is something that can be recycled, but we have to make sure it's clean. And to make sure it's clean, we have to take out the cap, and then you have to pour out if any water is in there.
Sairam. We learned about environmental heroes like Dr. Jane Goodall, who spent years of her life studying chimpanzees in the forest. She realized that even chimps are capable of love. We also learned about Dr. Vandana Shiva, who created a large seed bank full of heirloom organic seeds for the farmers of India. We too grow an organic garden and save seeds to plant next year. Sairam.
The second biggest pollutant is the clothing industry. While buying dresses or anything, I stop and think, do I need this or do I want this? Sometimes it's fun to share clothes and toys with your cousins and friends. You don't need to always buy new things. And here is my garden. I even collect some hard recyclables like chips bags and candy wrappers that cannot go in our curbside recycling bin and send them to TerraCycle for recycling. I even collect organic matter like veggie peels and put them in the compost. Did you know that organic matter that ends up in the landfill produces a harmful greenhouse gas called methane?
Did you know many items can't be recycled by curbside? TerraCycle works with large corporations to recycle these hard-to-recycle items for free. Empty cosmetic containers can be dropped off at Nordstrom. Stationaries like glue sticks, highlighters, markers, and pens can be packaged and mailed to TerraCycle for free. Candy wrappers and drink lid and straw containers can be dropped off at participating Subaru dealerships. Toothpaste and toothbrushes and floss can be packaged and mailed to TerraCycle for free. For more details, visit TerraCycle.com. If you're interested in recycling more, then you could get a paid zero waste box from TerraCycle, which even recycles things without the recycle logo on the back.
So we've been collecting this plastic waste and foil snack pack waste for over a year to drop off at the TerraCycle Zero Waste Box.
We've also been collecting these electronics to drop off at Best Buy for recycling.
If you research hard enough, you can find other places that let you reuse and recycle clothes, glasses, and shoes. And as Baba says, sealing on desires or reduce consumerism, as recycling is an expensive process.
Satya Sai Baba says transformation begins with the individual. When the individual changes, the world will change. Baba says this transformation has to take place in the minds of individuals. Right thoughts will lead to right actions.
The time has come now for each of us to take positive action and spread awareness about climate change.
And here is the biodegradable seva from South Houston Sai Center. The various ways to reduce, refuse, reuse, recycle, and repurpose. And here are the various resources to buy biodegradable products. For more information, please visit our website. Sai
Wow, that was a wonderful reminder from our always ever shining SSC kids, reminding us on what are the things that we can do and how each of these things can bring us in inner transformation, and of course respect Mother Earth and preserve her. So with that, we are towards the end of the call, but let's go around real quick amongst all the panelists here and ask them one takeaway message for the audience. So let's begin with Sister Sanju.
I think from just hearing from the other panelists and obviously from the videos as well, all the activities, I think, as you can tell, there's such a multitude of ways in which you can live green and go green and love green. So I think there is, whether it's in a big Seva activity or with kids or just even at home, it could just be, something small even can really add up to a really powerful impact. And so I think even, life can be busy, but just as simple as turning off your lights as you go out of the room you're not using, or like recycling, just being more aware. I'm a researcher, so now we do use plastic quite a bit in the lab, but being aware, we have designated areas where we need to recycle and what plastics go into which. So being more aware of how that goes, I think that also being careful and doing all those little small actions can really have a powerful impact. And I think that's something to teach the young generations just going moving forward, is to learn a little bit more about what's the significance of these actions, and understanding how that ultimately helps in the big picture.
I totally agree with you, Sister Sanju. Thank you for that take-home message. Okay, let's hear it from Sharma uncle.
I think I can go back to Akashat Patitam Toyam Yadagachati Sagaram Sarvadeva Namaskaram Prichugachati. Looking at everything, whatever we feel, if you put Swami in your heart, again, start with Hridayavasi Sai. Then everywhere you see that you have a responsibility to give back what Swami has given as a pristine earth. So if we have that attitude to start with, it's so-called the attitude of gratitude. You start with that. That becomes a beautiful way, because everybody responds. You see the kids, the SSC kids showing everywhere. If we have not learned from them, it's too late. You better start today, because you take, as she said, again, everybody is talking about, take that pledge. Take that pledge, pray, start with that 5 hours. Everywhere, you have, and there are companies who can help you. I can do that, yes. There are free ways to do it. I mean, you can get it done. Again, I think it's a wonderful program. Hopefully, it inspires more than 10 people or 15 people. Even then, you start with 3 more people. Then you can start that. So you don't need to start a big garden. Start with just like that kid showed. I mean, a tray. That's good enough. That'll be wonderful seva for Swamis. Even for centenary, I think we should prove, yes, this generation have a beautiful earth to stay on. Thank you. Sairam.
Thank you, Sharma uncle, for that. How about you, Brother Subbu?
Yeah, like it's a good lesson, good session for everyone. I have a lot of takeaways from this, but looking at the time check, so it's like only one thing I quickly wrap up. So it's a time to give back, show your gratitude to the Mother Nature. Transformations, as a sister said, transformations start with one individual. So Sairam.
Sairam, thank you for that. How about your sister Purnima?
This was so beautiful. Thank you. I think I want to just quote something very beautiful that I read in Sutra Vahini. So Swami says, no need to study the entire vast Vedas in order to attain Brahman. Just focus on the core message and try to implement it. And he says the core message is constant thought of God. So just like that, in Go Green, don't worry about, trying to know everything that there is about going green. Start somewhere, pick 1 or 2, which helps you relate to Swami as much as possible, connect with Swami. And, just go from there. For me, that happens to be, any kind of activity that surrounds, relates to, sealing on desires. That is where I'm practicing and trying to go green. So you all choose yours. And that should be my message for everybody. Sairam.
Thank you so much for that, Sister Purnima. How about you, Sister Devi? What do you got to share with us?
Continuing on Sister Purnima's vein, I would say Swami has said that the universe is university for man, right? And every single thing that we do, it does impact the environment. So anything that's not in tune with the 5 elements is not in tune with nature. Tomorrow being Mother Ishwarama Day is perfect day to do this. Let's respect, let's revere Mother Nature. And she gives us unconditionally. Let's try to give back a little. And that's my message. And I ask for Swami's grace for us to enable this. Saira.
Thank you so much, Sister Devi. So my dear brothers and sisters, we have a lot of information that was shared with us about living green, and we thank each panel member for that. So we will end this session with all the wonderful experiences and tips that our Love Green, Live Green champs shared with us. Hope you feel inspired to come together to incorporate them in your day-to-day activities and serve this planet. You can attach any Go Green activity to bring in that inner transformation, to grow that Swami within you. Thank you everyone for joining us. Jai Sai Ram.
Loving Sairam to you all. At the outset, I would like to express my most sincere gratitude to Swami for providing us the opportunity to serve as his instruments in furthering the Go Green mission in Region 10. Swami says we owe our existence to society. All the name, fame, joy, happiness, wealth, and prosperity that we enjoy are obtained from society. Society helps us in solving our problems and confers all happiness. It helps the flower of humanity to blossom in an individual. It is therefore essential that one serves such a society. It is important that one serves nature, through which one learns the highest truth of divinity. My humble gratitude to Sisters Purnima, Sridevi, and Sanju, as well as Brothers Subbu and Sharmaji, for leading such wonderful Go Green initiatives in our region. Several of the efforts that they have led have been covered in national and international SSSIO media publications over the past several years. Each of our panelists have truly exemplified Swami's Go Green message. They have most ably led efforts, raised awareness of issues. Not only that, they have spearheaded simple yet practical solutions to continue to further Swami's mission through their daily actions. They have all been key influencers, not only in their respective cities, but have been called upon to share their wealth of knowledge outside of Region 10 as well. Thanks to Sister Ashwita and Brother Ritvik for arranging this wonderful session tonight and also leading this effort within our region. We are truly blessed to have you both in our region. Each and every one of you continue to inspire us through your dedication to the Go Green initiative, willingness to do whatever it takes, including educating us, patiently persevering with several of us, and doing all of this in such a caring and loving manner. Lastly, I would like to remind everyone that our next webinar will be on June 2nd, the first Wednesday of June, and the topic we'll be covering there is another service-related topic. We'll cover disaster relief and how Region 10 has been involved in disaster relief efforts over the past decade or so. So please have a blessed evening, and we will all see you in 4 weeks. Jai Sai Ram.